Have you ever wondered how people kept their food from spoiling before electricity? What if I told you that over 2,000 years ago, ancient Persians invented a refrigerator that could keep ice frozen for months, right in the middle of a scorching desert? And the craziest part, they didn't need a single watt of electricity. Even more incredible, some of these giant mud brick domes are still standing today. They're called Yakhchals, and in some ways they're even more efficient than the high-tech fridge sitting in your kitchen right now. Picture this. You're living in ancient Persia, what is now modern-day Iran. It's the middle of summer, and temperatures are soaring to a blistering 50 degrees Celsius, or 122 Fahrenheit. The air is so hot and dry that any water left out in the open evaporates almost instantly. Survival in this climate is a daily challenge. So, how on earth did people keep their food fresh? How could they possibly enjoy a cool drink or make ice cream centuries before the invention of the freezer? The answer lies in one of the most brilliant feats of ancient engineering, the Yakhchal. The word Yakhchal literally translates from Persian to ice well. Yakh, meaning ice, and chal, meaning pit or well. And that's exactly what it was, a massive cone-shaped structure made of clay, designed not just to store ice, but to create it in one of the hottest places on Earth. These structures were architectural marvels, towering up to 15 meters high. Their thick, earthen walls built to withstand the brutal desert sun and maintain a frosty temperature inside, month after month. Now, you might be thinking, wait, didn't Europeans have something similar? And you'd be right. In medieval Europe, the wealthy elite had ice houses. These were typically underground chambers where they would pack snow and ice collected during the winter. This ice would then be used throughout the warmer months to chill drinks and preserve food for the nobility. It was a luxury for sure, but what the Persians accomplished was on another level entirely. They weren't just storing ice they collected in winter. They were actively producing ice during the cool desert nights, even when daytime temperatures were unbearable. This wasn't just for the rich. It was a community resource that provided essentials like preserved food and sorbet-like desserts for everyone. So how did they pull off this seemingly impossible magic trick? The genius of the Yakhchal lies in a simple, yet incredibly effective three-part system: a massive storage chamber, giant shadow walls, and shallow ice pools. Let's break down how each part worked together. First, the heart of the operation, the ice chamber. This was a huge, cone-shaped dome, often with a deep subterranean pit beneath it. The unique shape wasn't just for looks, it created a natural chimney effect. Hot air, being lighter, would rise and escape through an opening at the very top of the dome. Meanwhile, the cooler, denser air would sink and settle at the bottom, keeping the stored ice perfectly chilled. Some of these chambers were enormous, capable of holding up to 5,000 cubic meters of ice. That's enough to fill 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools. The construction material was just as clever. The walls were built from a special super-insulating mortar called sarouj. This was a mixture of clay, sand, lime, egg whites, goat hair, and ash, all mixed in specific proportions. Once it dried, sarouj became incredibly hard, waterproof, and a fantastic heat insulator. The walls were often over 2 meters thick at the base, providing an almost impenetrable barrier against the desert heat. Next up are the shadow walls. These were enormous freestanding walls, sometimes running for hundreds of meters and reaching heights of 10 to 15 meters. They were always built on an east-west axis. Why? To cast the longest possible shadow throughout the day. These walls would shade a large area of land to their south, including the ice pools we'll talk about next. By blocking the direct sunlight, these walls could lower the ground temperature in their shadow by as much as 20 degrees Celsius. This pre-cooled the entire area, creating the perfect conditions for making ice. Finally, we have the ice pools. At the base of the shadow walls, the Persians built a series of shallow canals or ponds. These were fed by a brilliant system of underground aqueducts known as qanats. Qanats were another marvel of Persian engineering, a network of underground tunnels that tapped into groundwater from nearby mountains and brought it, cool and fresh, all the way to the desert. Here's where the magic happens. During the cold, clear desert nights, a phenomenon called radiative cooling takes effect. The cloudless sky acts like a giant heat sink. The shallow water in the pools would radiate its heat up into the vast, cold expanse of space. Because the ground was already pre-chilled by the shadow walls and the water was fed from the cool qanats, it would freeze surprisingly quickly, even if the daytime temperature was scorching. Workers would then break up the thin layers of ice that formed each night, collect them, and move them into the giant dome. Inside the Yakhchal, the ice blocks would be carefully stacked, with layers of straw and mud placed between them for added insulation. As more ice was added, the temperature inside the dome would drop further and further, eventually reaching a stable, near freezing point. This cycle would continue all winter long, filling the Yakhchal to the brim with precious ice, and this ice would last. Thanks to the thick, insulated walls and the deep underground storage, the ice from winter would remain frozen through the spring, the summer, and well into the autumn. This provided a year-round supply of refrigeration for storing perishable foods like meat and dairy, and of course for making faluda, a traditional Persian frozen dessert made with thin noodles and rosewater, which is still a favorite treat in Iran today. Not all Yakhchals were identical. Some designs were even more advanced, incorporating badgirs, or wind catchers. These are towers designed to funnel prevailing winds down into the structure. The wind would pass over the surface of the qanat water, becoming cooler through evaporation, and then this cool air would be directed into the dome, creating a natural air conditioning system that further lowered the temperature. Whether they used wind catchers or just a wall and pull system, the principle was the same: passive cooling. No fuel, no electricity, no moving parts. Just a deep understanding of natural principles like heat transfer, insulation, and thermodynamics. So, how do these ancient marvels stack up against our modern refrigerators? Well, your fridge at home is obviously much faster and more convenient. You plug it in, and within a few hours, you have ice on demand. It's clean, compact, and fits right into your kitchen. The Yakhchal, on the other hand, was a slow, seasonal, and labor-intensive process, but it was also completely sustainable and had zero energy cost. It was a communal utility built from local, natural materials. In terms of sheer effectiveness at preserving food and keeping things cold, it did its job just as well as any modern freezer. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the most elegant solutions are the simplest ones, born from necessity and a profound respect for the natural world. The Yakhchal is more than just an old building, it's a testament to human ingenuity. It shows that with a bit of cleverness, we can work with nature, not against it, to solve incredible challenges. As we look for more sustainable ways to live today, perhaps we can take a page from the book of these ancient desert architects. In these ancient cities, ice wasn't just a luxury, it was a part of daily life. It was a commodity so valuable, it was traded with the same seriousness as gold. Ice merchants would cut massive blocks from the Yakhchal's frozen reservoir and sell them in the bustling bazaars. It allowed for a level of food preservation and culinary delight that was simply unheard of in most other parts of the hot, arid world. It was a game changer, transforming the quality of life for thousands. So, what exactly is a Yakhchal, and how does it perform this seemingly magical feat? The name itself gives us a clue. In Persian, yak means ice, and chal means pit. At its core, a Yakhchal is an ancient evaporative cooler with two main parts. First, there's the massive cone-shaped dome you see rising from the desert floor. This isn't just any structure, it's a masterpiece of engineering. The walls, sometimes 2 meters thick at the base, are made from a special mortar called saruj. This incredible mixture of sand, clay, egg whites, lime, goat hair, and ash is not only a fantastic insulator, but also completely water-resistant. Its conical shape is also crucial. It deflects the direct heat of the sun and helps funnel hot air up and out through an opening at the very top, a principle we now call the chimney effect. But the real magic happens underground. Beneath the dome lies a vast subterranean storage space, a deep pit where the ice is kept. This underground chamber is naturally insulated by the earth, keeping it cool year-round. So you have a super-insulated, heat-reflecting dome on top and a naturally chilled basement below. But where did the ice come from in the first place? This is where the ingenuity kicks into high gear. The Yakhchal didn't just store ice, it helped create it. During the cold desert nights of winter, a shallow channel, or qanat, would divert water from a nearby spring or underground aqueduct into a large, shallow pond right next to the Yakhchal. The pond was shaded from the sun during the day by the Yakhchal's own shadow, and sometimes by an additional wall built on its southern side. As the temperature plummeted after sunset, the water in the shallow pond would freeze solid, layer by layer, night after night. Once the ice was thick enough, workers would break it into large blocks and transport it into the deep, insulated pit beneath the dome. There, packed with straw for extra insulation, the ice would remain frozen, ready to be used throughout the blazing, hot summer months. The system was so efficient that a Yakhchal could keep ice solid for not just one summer, but sometimes for years. It was a perfect, self-sustaining cycle of natural refrigeration. For centuries, these magnificent mud brick domes dotted the landscapes of Persia and Central Asia. They were symbols of prosperity, innovation, and humanity's ability to thrive in even the harshest environments. They were the beating heart of their communities, providing comfort, preserving food, and making life in the desert not just possible, but pleasant. But then the world began to change. The 20th century brought a new kind of magic: electricity. With it came the modern refrigerator. This new invention was compact, convenient, and could be placed right in your kitchen. Suddenly, there was no need to harvest ice from a giant community structure. The convenience of modern technology was undeniable. And so, the age of the Yakhchal began to fade. One by one, these ancient giants fell silent. Their qanats ran dry, their ice pits lay empty. No longer maintained, the magnificent domes, which had stood for centuries against the sun, began to surrender to a different desert force: the wind and the sand. The Saruj walls, once meticulously cared for, started to erode. These architectural marvels, once the center of city life, slowly crumbled, becoming forgotten relics of a bygone era. They were seen as obsolete, a relic of the past that had been surpassed by progress. But the story doesn't end there. Not all of them vanished. In the Kerman province of Iran, a testament to this ancient wisdom still stands tall. One of the best preserved Yakhchals in the world can be found here. Its dome soars 18 meters, that's nearly 60 feet, into the sky. And even today, if you step inside on a day when the outside temperature is a blistering 50 degrees Celsius, the air inside is astonishingly cool. It is a living demonstration that the principles behind its design are as valid today as they were 2,000 years ago. It's not a museum piece, it's a working example of passive cooling. This incredible resilience has captured the attention of a new generation. In a world grappling with climate change and searching for sustainable solutions, architects, engineers, and scientists are now looking back to the Yakhchal, not as a relic, but as a blueprint for the future. They are studying its design, its materials, and its passive cooling principles to inspire a new wave of eco-friendly architecture. Think about it. The Yakhchal uses zero electricity. It has zero carbon emissions. It is built from locally sourced natural materials. It is the very definition of sustainable design. The principles it uses, thermal mass, evaporative cooling, ventilation, and solar shading, are now at the forefront of green building design. Modern buildings are incorporating features like thick, insulated walls, solar chimneys to vent hot air, and underground cooling systems, all ideas perfected by ancient Persian architects millennia ago. The Yakhchal is a powerful reminder that sometimes the most advanced technology is the one that works in harmony with nature, not against it. And this brings us to a profound lesson. We often think of progress as a straight line, always moving forward, with each new invention making the last one obsolete. But the Yakhchal teaches us that progress can also mean looking backward. It shows us that ancient cultures possessed a deep, sophisticated understanding of science and engineering, born from careful observation of the natural world. The first green refrigerators weren't built in a high-tech lab. They were crafted from mud, wind, and the accumulated wisdom of generations. It forces us to ask, what other ancient secrets are we overlooking? What other sustainable, ingenious solutions are lying dormant, waiting to be rediscovered? The future we're trying to build, a more sustainable, eco-friendly future, might not be entirely new. Parts of it might already exist, hidden in plain sight, inside the quiet, cool walls of an ancient mud dome in the middle of the desert. The wisdom of our ancestors is not just history, it could be the key to our survival. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. It's incredible what we can learn when we look to the past. If you found this as fascinating as I did, Please hit that like button and subscribe for more explorations into the forgotten genius of the ancient world. And I'd love to know what you think in the comments. Which ancient invention should we explore next? Until next time, stay curious.